Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and team. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you can only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome. I'm Gary Gatza. Welcome to RaceVerse coverage of Round 8 of Season 7 of the Dark Horse DW12 series, coming to you from Kentucky Speedway. Joining me in the booth, he's back again as a regular participant in the IndyCar Oval Series, a contributor at Jalopnik.com, also on the Motorsport 101 podcast. Please welcome the all-star substitute, Ryan Eric King. Ryan, thanks for being here. I know we got a bit of a small field tonight, only 11 cars. We got some other IndyCar racing going on because it's the month of May and all the 500s now are starting up. But we're hoping for a spirited race. Now, you and I had a kind of a small field when we went to Homestead, and that was 13 cars. We're 11 cars tonight. That went pretty smoothly, so I don't expect anything different from tonight.
Yeah, it should be a clean run from the green, but as we saw at Homestead, anything could happen, and just because you have a small field doesn't mean there's no chance for a caution.
True. It's just less of a chance going on. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. This is one of those scheduling conflict nights that no one can really do anything about unless all the leagues work together, and then you're asking an awful lot right there sometimes. But on the screen, stock car driver Matty Wagner. He's making his attempt here. So I probably should explain why we call him stock car driver Matty Wagner, just in case you might not know. During the ISRA race on Monday, which is an Xfinity series made up of a lot of ex-Lionheart guys, we were identifying a lot of the stock car drivers that have been kind of coming in from other leagues that have been recruited by the admin over there. And I said, Matt's an IndyCar guy. And he types in the chat. He goes, I'm a stock car guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's how he earned his nickname. He is now stock car driver Matt Wagner. He probably doesn't like it. But he is showing us that he's going to put a big lap in, 2:09.6 first time around. See if he improves this time. There it is, 2:12.9 right to the pole. "20 seconds remaining. Still have not seen a lap from Pagero yet, although Highsong is on the track. Let's take a look at Highsong here. Got 4 seconds. I don't think he's going to make it to the start-finish line. Nope. Oh. No. That's okay. It's not a very big field, so he should be all right as the field resets. And we are getting ready to bring in the starting lineup. And we should cue up the music here. Should have had this ready before, but I'm not a DJ either. Here we go. And there is your starting grid. Matt Wagner, 212.912 mile per hour on the pole. Charlie T right next to him, 212.781. I saw Charlie made an excellent run, almost a near win at the Area 51 Indy 500. I saw the end of that race. Kind of ended in the turn 3 wall like it did for Allenser Jr. in 89. But good run for him, I saw. Peterson, third with a 212.7. Schaus, your points leader with a 212.7. Cone, the Watchman here, fifth, 212.3. Casey Pahutsky, we saw him in a race earlier in the week. He is a 212 flat, P6. Lee Kane, by God, it's Kane, P7. JB, P8, and Haisong did not get a lap in, is P9. That is the extent of my overlay. We do have more than that is in the lineup. Let's see, Joseph Morales and Iker Peguero also lining up behind Haisong here for our 11-car field. Not a lot of good camera angle. There's a good camera angle. And we are moving for the pace lap here. Let's bring up the points as they stand going into today's race. And here they are. Actually, we'll have to turn off that static bug there covering up. But Schaus, your leader by 8 points over Wagner. Stouffer, he's over in the 500 right now. Forsyth is over in the 500 right now. Yara Brubacher is fifth. He'll make some spots. Teed Peterson in the lineup tonight. I'm not sure where Santos is, but he is currently P8, as long as his teammate Rafi Eckert in 9th, Pahutsky in 10th. So Pahutsky looking to make some inroads in the top 10. Gary Levern 11th, Mark Murphy 12th. Murph's in the 500 as well. I think Levern as well. Swinson 13th, Hobson 14th. Cone in the lineup tonight here. He is 15th. There's the remainder of your lineup. Herrick, Corley, Kane, Peguero, and Elmer Joseph, your top 20. So I have a new feature here on, and we're getting ready to go. We're getting ready to go green. So let's get these off. Points go away. There we go. And we want to get our Twitter stuff off here too. We'll show that later. We're getting ready to go green. I got a new feature here, Ryan. We do have a whiteboard, so I can circle things on the racetrack. So we can go all Madden when we go green flag right now racing at Kentucky. And Teed follows it right behind Wagner. Cone on the outside trying to get and slip into the third spot, but slams the door by Peterson. That was actually Schaus, excuse me. Got two light blue and white cars out there. Teed and Wagner side by side coming off of 4 for the end of the first lap.
It's going to be a wonder to see how long they could be racing side by side here, because typically in the IR18s, eventually this sort of devolves into a one-lane racetrack.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is the new version, not the older version of Kentucky. So what we have is we have a slightly different profiled end of the racetrack. The 1 and 2 end, a little bit steeper, a little bit narrower. While the 3 and 4 end, a little bit wider, a little bit less steep, less banking there. So brings a little bit more driver ability. Think of it a flipped Texas, if you will. New Texas. Although they're going to change that up here soon, too. So, whatever.
Who knows what they're going to have in Fort Worth anymore.
Yeah, and whatever it is, IndyCar is not going back there, and that's a shame. The rule set for tonight, 80% fuel, unlimited Firestone tires, 1 fast repair. Pit road speed limit is 45 miles per hour. This is a 1.5 mile D-shaped oval, 150 laps, 300 miles is the scheduled distance. Sit back, relax, 3 wide going to the 1 for P3, 4, and 5. Believe it or not, the track record here at at Kentucky, even though it was on the old track, still held by Sarah Fisher. Speed of 221.3, set that way back in 2002.
Ooh.
Like a 22-year-old record still standing there.
And we raced here longer than
right. Yeah, the last race here was 11. And I think the track has actually fallen into a state of disrepair, so they can't actually go back to it if we want to. So thank God iRacing is still here. We could race at least 2 different versions. The career wins leaders here in the IndyCar Series are a pair of former Indy 500 champs. Buddy Lazier and Sam Hornish each had 2 wins here. And, of course, the last race here was in 2011 when they were riding around in the IR05 chassis with all of its updates that took it up to the 2011 spec, which included push to pass. So, Cone the Watchman up to the lead. Wagner P2, Teed, Peterson, Paletsky, your top 5. Everybody's underneath the blanket. Morales, he's back there with the draft, getting a nice big hole punched in the air for him. He is your purple lap leader at 10, or and at P10, but he has the purple lap. So 150 laps. I think this is going to have to be, what do we think here? It's a 3-stopper, 4-stopper maybe?
3, but you need to be very conscious of your fuel usage.
So if we do a 4 stints, and they're side by side, that's a 3-stopper. That's 37.5 laps. If we do a 4-stopper, which is 5 stints, 30 laps. So I do know that the undercut is pretty powerful here, and these cars have demonstrated it quite a bit, actually, coming out on fresher tires. Here comes Cone on the outside, looking at Teed there. Teed's going to keep the bottom side occupied. Meanwhile, in Indianapolis, I believe we're under caution. Oh, yeah, we definitely are under caution. Holy crap. 3 cars, including my RaceVerse car, almost got taken out. We had Murphy's in the RaceVerse Hot One. I don't know if you've seen that, but I had a couple cars made up for commission of former Indy 500 winners with RaceVerse sponsorship, and we had the RaceVerse Hot One made up, which actually looks pretty good, and it's the old Domino's livery, except it's all RaceVerse with our the fixed series logos and the open series logo, the IIS logos, the ones we broadcast, so they're on the car. Meanwhile, back in the action here in Kentucky, Teed the leader still. Wagner trying to get a run on the bottom side. And I'm thinking by now, the bottom side line is just not going to be your fastest line. At least to make a pass. And I think in Indianapolis, I think teammates wrecked each other. I'm pretty sure they just wrecked each other.
That is unfortunate.
And I think Stouffer got taken out as a result. Got 2 teammates and Stouffer. Oh, come on over here, Chris. I mean, you can pop in the car and make a few laps and at least get a 12th-place finish.
Yeah, get some points out of it.
Now, I will say these guys in the Dark Horse Series, to be able to put on a league over and over again for, Shal's clipping the apron there, had to float high to regain the control of the car. To put on a series that they have for 7 now consecutive seasons. Oh, Watchman getting right underneath the right rear pod of Teed. To put on a series like this that uses a car that's not widely used, it's a free car on the service, to be in their 7th season, that's a pretty big milestone. I know a lot of these IndyCar leagues kind of come and go, as you know too. You've seen them kind of come and go over time, but they keep coming back every year, or multiple times for multiple seasons. Most leagues last 1 or 2 seasons, and then people kind of get tired. 7 seasons, it's that makes you an elderly league here. and it's fantastic to see them showing up every year. unfortunately, with kind of the overlap of some of the leagues and the drivers, we do have some of these instances where there's another series going on that kind of splits the fields in half, a la the US 500. But they'll all be back next week, because I believe this is the finale for EISs at Indianapolis this week. So,
yeah. And field of 11 is still a decent amount.
Well, they are jockeying all over the place. Morales back there. Morales in the McQuick, Nestle Quick livery there. I think that Marco drove that, didn't he? I'm pretty sure Marco drove that. But he had the fastest lap. He still does in P6, and he's just kind of moving on up, keeping the car clean. So we expect, if you're going to do 4 stops, the window opens at lap 30. If you're going to do 3 stops, the window opens at 37, 38. So those are the windows that we're looking at. And they're your championship point leaders right next to one another. In fact, Wagner's a little bit of a stock car driver meat and a sandwich there. Here's Iker Peguero back there in the Quaker State Conti car. So did you see that finally that you're going to see an IndyCar livery on a stock car now?
Yeah, we get a Tecate livery on a stock car.
I love it. I love it being the other way around. Finally. Yeah, Daniel Suarez is going to honor Adrian Fernandez at Darlington, and in a Quaker State sponsored car, because that's the big tie-in between the two, as both were sponsored by Quaker State. Teconti's not playing a sponsor in this, but fantastic looking car, and we actually have one of our broadcasters on the IIS with me is Antonio Estrada, and he is from Mexico. We kind of had this discussion of, like, in the Parthenon of great Mexican drivers, kind of who stands out, and really he said that besides Pato right now, it's really Adrian Fernandez is kind of the guy that everyone kind of looks up to for the most part.
Modern era.
Yeah, in the modern era. Yeah. Of course, he won in the kart series. He won when he came over to the IndyCar series, IRL series. He won everything. I think he won a couple 500-mile races, at least one 500-mile race, I think, when he was in kart. Three wide for the lead going in the 1 and 2. Definitely putting on a good show. Want to thank everybody who's tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button. Let these guys know that you approve and you appreciate what they're doing. 4 wide coming off the corner there with Morales out the bottom. Oh, Cohen's bleaking. Dean kind of pull away a little bit. That pin window is going to open up here a little bit. Make sure you smash like, click subscribe, and ring the bell if you don't miss, so you don't miss out on the next RaceVerse broadcast. And boy, oh boy, do we have a ton of them. Tomorrow, 9:35 ISRA Xfinity Series at Chicagoland. Then 8:15 on Tuesday, we have another Chicagoland race. The IndyCar Oval Series will be at Chicagoland. Then I will actually be, we'll be covering a truck series race that we'll be covering in a couple weeks for their broadcast team, who is going to be going on kind of a 2-week vacation. The VRL, the Vigilante Racing League, they will be doing trucks at Kansas, and they called upon RaceVerse to fill in. And of course, we'd be happy to do that. We love pinch hitting. Of course, you know what they always say about pinch hitters is eventually they find their way into the starting lineup. And then on the 9th, Thursday, big race, but it's not going to be here, but I want you to tune in nevertheless. It's going to be on the Elite Racing Network at roughly 8 p.m., I think. I'll have to double-check the times for everybody, and I will update and accordingly when we have other broadcasts later this week. But the ERL's Indianapolis 500, I will be joining voice of the 500, Mark Janes, in the booth. So that's the radio voice of the Indy 500, Mark Janes. Ooh, T just goes, Brazilian clears himself right behind Wagner there. So looking forward to that. That is going to be a full field. A lot of drivers that you see here are also going to be in that lineup as well. And then on Friday the 10th, we're going to be doing a 4 p.m. matinee of the IIS for the Indy GP. And then that's going to wrap up the week. So we are really busy here this week. Actually, this week and next. It's almost something one race every day, just about here on RaceVerse. Schaus aggressively pulling out from the backside here of Teed there. Maybe got thinking he was getting a little too close. Okay, that 4-stopper window is open. And we haven't paid attention to chat. I gotta pay attention to chat. Who do we got in chat?
Oh.
Who do we got in chat? We got Paguero's in there, typed in. Wagner. Stock car driver. We got Mike Rigney there from the ISRA. Is that the stock car driver, Wagner? Yeah, that is the stock car driver, Wagner. Yes. The. Well, that's right. Richie, Adrian Finitz did do the Lionheart 500 a few years ago. I forgot about that. Of course, Richie Hearn qualified for the ERL Indy 500. And you'll see him in action Monday night at the Xfinity in Chicagoland with the ISRA. But he qualified in the Fast 9 there for that race. So he will start 9th, actually. In fact, all of the 4D Racewear guys who 4D is a big supporter here of Dark Horse. So, of course, I just want to mention while we're talking about 4D, it's make sure to check out their made-for-sim racing line of gloves, shoes, and apparel. Just visit them at 4dracewear.com. Link is in the description. But Teed kisses the wall off of 4.
Real close. Yeah,
that was really, really close. Man, and now the 3-stop window is starting to open up here. So we got about 2 or 3 laps from that. Let's see what happens. And all of the big, all the drivers for 4D. So Jimmy Herrick, who we normally see here as well. Forsyth, Stouffer, and Hearn all qualified in the for the starting lineup. So looking for a strong effort from 4D there in the ERL Indy 500. On the pole is Jason Brophy. You see him on a lot of our IndyCar fixed series. IndyCar Oval Series broadcasts. Joining him on the front row is also 4 wide Adriano Pinero. Of course, you see him in the IndyCar Open Series or IndyCar of Oval Series as well. And then the man himself, the second coming of Rick Mears, Robert Malechka II. The third. The second's his dad. Third is he is on the front row as well. So, and he is he's won the last 3 ERL races. So he is a 3-time defending champion there for that series and for that race. It'll be very competitive. Cone as your leader. Okay, that 3-stop window is now open. And that's when Cone's coming in. He's coming in all by himself. So he's not going to have anyone to help him coming back on the racetrack in terms of trying to get better mileage this time around.
Yeah, he'll definitely be able to put down fast lap times, though, and that's where the undercut might come into play.
Cone coming to his stall, hits the marks. Great job. Yeah, we were doing the DW12s on Friday at Vor DW12s at Daytona, which it was a 90-lap race and went caution-free. Had a little bit larger starting lineup than this one. I think they had about 18 cars. But it still went caution-free, and it almost turned into a fuel mileage race. But the biggest problem they were having is just being so fast and slowing down to hit those hit those markers in the pit stall. A number of cars took themselves out of contention just by, and there's we see some more people on pit road. That is Pagero on pit road. Schaus is on the racetrack still, but I believe Matty Wagner, there he is. He's coming off of pit road. Teed in the same thing, but here comes Cone on the overcut. There he goes. The 2 or 3 seconds that it takes for you to reline your car up and hit the marks. I mean, keep in mind the general rule at IndyCars is a football field a second. It might as well be a mile if you miss your spot.
Yeah, because you'll fly right past it.
Yeah. It might as well miss a mile. It might as well be a mile, because if you have a football, if you miss, you have to reline yourself up, and there's 2 football fields there that you just have to make back up on the racetrack because of a little mistake. That's tough to do at Daytona when everyone's on 100% throttle. You can't really drive yourself back into contention unless there's a yellow flag. Song with a good overcut, and he is doing a good job there. He has worked his way up to 3rd after making his pit stop. Still coming up to speed. Wagner's probably going to get him, but he is going to fall back to 4th, but a good job by him. Schaus is your leader. Going long, Schaus is now actually coming off pit road. He is smoking off pit road. You watch him bouncing around there on the apron. That is a very narrow apron here at this version of the racetrack. It's like the yellow line's right on top of you on the right, and you have the wall immediately to your left.
Yeah, it's exactly 1 car's width.
Here comes Cone. Now, these 2 guys might want to work together. It might be smart to work together and then pull away from these 3 behind him. Otherwise, we're going to get a 5-car group versus a 2-car group. And there you see Brubacher's leading that second group, 9/10 back. Now a second back. Schaus now in line behind Cone. That's probably what they need to do. Robert is a force unto himself. he is. Robert Malechka. We were racing at Pocono this week. In fact, he was in line for the RaceVerse Triple Crown if he won, because he won the opening race in the Open Series, or I keep saying the Open Series, the IndyCar Oval Series, which is the new version of Fixed, basically. Even though there is a new IndyCar Fixed Series. Long story, we'll get into that one some other time. But he was eligible to, because since he won Michigan, he was eligible still for the RaceVerse Triple Crown, which gets you nothing these days, just notoriety. And it's just RaceVerse notoriety, so it's not like it's big-time notoriety, but still. And he just missed the win by 11th, 100th of a second. I mean, it was really close. I mean, Oster got him at the line, and about 4 laps before that, 5 laps before that, he was kind of stuck back in 5th or 6th, and the other 2 guys in the booth with me go, I think Robert's out of it, and I said, nah, Robert's never out of it until the checkered flag falls. And that dude made me look like a smart genius. JB's now, and that second group, this first group was, I don't think they were really racing, but I don't think they could get hooked up in a way that would allow them to pull away. The second group got organized, and they have now caught this first group. There's JB leading the second group. He's now attaching himself on the backside of Schaus here. Wagner and Hysong will quickly be there. Hysong just very wisely staying in the draft to Wagner, which Wagner knows how to draft because he's a stock car driver. So what do you guys got going on at Jalopnik and Motorsport from the podcast coming up in the month of May?
Oh, it's obviously talking about the 500.
Sure.
But unfortunately, events in IndyCar have decided to, I don't want to say overshadow the race, because it's nearly impossible to do, but IndyCar is headed into May with storylines already in place.
Well, let's talk about them. What's the key storyline other than I'm guessing the two storylines is Schaus. I think he either hit the apron or just got a massive arrow push, and he had to kind of check up, and that kind of brought Wagner back into the battle here on the high side. I'm guessing it's going to be push to pass gate with Penske still.
Yeah.
And Malukas.
Yeah. So I'd say the Penske storyline's A, and then Malukas is B, because obviously the immediate thing is the scandal about the use of push to pass at St. Petersburg. Essentially, the entire IndyCar paddock do not believe that is the only time that Penske circumvented that.
Wow.
But this is also in the shadow of the team owner's frustration with Penske Entertainment over the management of the series as a whole, and this is sort of a vital turning point, because we talked about it during previous rounds about IndyCar's TV deal being under negotiations right now.
Yes.
And this is, all in all, this is for what Penske did to come to light now at pretty much a very critical year for IndyCar is very unfortunate, and tension between the team owners and Penske are at an all-time high.
Ooh. Now, is this going to impact what are the underlying concerns of the engine manufacturers? Because Honda's already like, we're not definitely sold on being in the series, and now this happens to their competitor.
Yeah.
I imagine this does not help Honda if they decide they want to stay in the series.
Yeah, it does not help them, because it pretty much proves what they wanted. Like, it proves what Honda wanted to be the right direction, where Honda have stated that they want IndyCar to be a battle of engineers, where essentially Chevy or Ilmor and Honda would have a spec engine for IndyCar, and it would be on the engineer's part to get the most out of said engine.
But it would still be an Ilmor engineer as a representative on a team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for that to happen, the power units would have to be even more closely monitored and regulated, which, in light of recent events, should sort of be a thing.
Well, was it really an engine unit, or it was more of an ECU? It was a control unit, one of the black boxes. That was the problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the black box.
It wasn't the engine itself. The engine just obeyed the command.
Yeah, it obeyed the command, and Chevrolet said that they were not involved, and from what they could see, that it was a Penske engineer who changed the line of code in the ECU to allow essentially free push-to-pass usage.
So he put in the up, down, down code.
Pretty much.
For a limited push-to-pass. That's he plugged in the old Game Genie from the Commodore, or not Commodore 64, but Nintendo, Super Nintendo or whatever. Puts in the hex code, and all of a sudden you have unlimited push to passes.
Which the other sort of aspect of this, seemingly Penske has trotted out Joseph Newgarden to be the fall guy, because he was the driver who pushed the button.
Yeah. Now, I'm a fan of Joseph, and I'm not going to give up my fandom for Joseph, because everybody has issues. Everybody has problems. I don't necessarily buy his... I thought there was a rule change. I don't necessarily buy that, but I'm not ready to give up on the guy yet. But I absolutely, the wrestling fan of me 100% wants him to win the 500, get out of the car, grab the microphone, and then yell to the crowd, "Acknowledge me."
And yeah, I don't buy the excuse of a rule change. And I understand why he's taking the line he is. And essentially he's been told to say this because there's no way. It wasn't just him and one engineer. It had to be a team-wide effort. The only way that something like this could happen at a team is if numerous people along the line of organization at the team knew this was happening.
And then for everybody to keep quiet about it.
Yeah. They kept quiet about it until they got caught at Long Beach.
And that was a mistake. And that was a mistake. I mean, it was a system-wide push to pass failure that was determined that happened in the morning warm-up at Long Beach, and that's how they found it, right?
Yeah. So there was a system-wide failure, and they're like, okay, we're gonna check all the team's ECUs, and they realized with the Penske cars, like, hey, it's not supposed to be able to do this. So they literally got caught by chance.
Look at this lead pack of 5 has been doing a good job of just kind of pacing themselves right now. Wagner's your leader. Cone and him are kind of swapping it back and forth. JB's been the meat and the sandwich in the middle between the two other behind him, Schaus and Heisong. Heisong has been just tacked on to the back of this 5-car crew, just making laps. I wouldn't be surprised if he's making some miles as well, just staying back there in the draft. So we're sitting here talking about the storylines going into Indianapolis. And that is the biggest storyline going to be the Penske push to pass. I was saying that if you're going to be, okay, look, if you're going to be diabolical about it, be diabolical about it. Why did they have the buttons on the front of the steering wheel if they knew that there was a roll bar camera looking down on them?
Oh, it's...
I mean, do I have to tell someone how to cheat? I mean,
it's
put the button on the back, man.
Yeah, like, the thing is, if you suddenly just move the button to the back, then everyone's gonna know. Then everyone's gonna know. It's sort of... Well,
I thought teams could put buttons anywhere they wanted. Is IndyCar, does IndyCar say they have to put them all at the front? I thought they could put them on the back because it was whatever that was for driver ergonomics.
Yes, for driver ergonomics.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I think it's sort of sometimes the best way to say hidden is to be in plain sight. It's sort of if you do something clear and obvious, people are going to start asking questions, and if they start asking questions, they're going to find out.
That's very F1 of you, yes. In plain sight, yes. We've always been doing that. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? This is normal.
And then I could see Penske also saying, well, that it did pass inspection, which tells you what really is what encompasses an inspection now. You're obviously not checking the ECUs and if people don't understand, those are the engine control units. They're the black boxes. Those are essentially when the car comes into the pits, right? You're seeing the guy with the USB or serial cable or whatever plugging into the car in the laptop. That's what they're plugging into, right?
Yeah, that's what they're plugging into. That's where they can get data from, and it's the computerized brain of the engine. It tells it what it can and can't do. 3 wide.
Look at these guys doing a good job. Oof. This is back here, Morales, Pahutski, and Teed. Yeah, so the ECU is when you see the drivers come into the pits, and then you see that laptop get plugged in. And they're probably using some sort of Telnet emulator or something. I'm sure it's probably ancient. But, yeah, if they're going in with the serial cable, I would hope that they're going in through USB now. But, yeah. Who knows? I mean, these are probably variations of engines that have been used since 2012. So,
yeah, and I assume, I don't know the IndyCar rulebook off the top of my head, but I know NASCAR, they don't allow wireless data connections between the ECU and the pit wall. So basically, the written rule is you need a wired connection. So the only way you can get data from the car is during a pit stop.
Interesting story about the engineers and the ECU. I used to work for D&M Holdings, which is they held. We're watching Brubacher and KNOW now. Brubacher was just leading the last couple laps. D&M Holdings is Denon Electronics if you're into stereo systems, and Marantz if you're into really high-end stereo systems. So I worked for them for about 5 years, and they had a car that they sponsored, and there was a couple guys that were in our Canada office. Actually, were kind of gentlemen sports car racers. And they took a car, a Porsche, down to Daytona for one of the for the Daytona 24 for one of the more of the amateur classes. I'm not sure if they really had a professional driver on a team. I think the amateur classes still has to have one professional or something on the team. I can't remember who it was, but I'll have to look at the year one more time. But for whatever reason, there was a lot of attrition in that class. And all of the factory Porsches, and they were not a factory Porsche team, fell out. And so they wanted a Porsche to win. Porsche wanted a Porsche to win. So the factory Porsche guys come down to their pit and say, the next time you guys pit, can we plug in? And here's Cone coming in for his next stop. And when they plugged in, they said all of a sudden the car picked up horsepower. Like, ta-da, ta-da, here you go. And they won their class, and I have their poster. And actually, I have someone made their car up for me if I ever wanted to use it on iRacing, I could. Of course, I suck on road courses, so I'm not going to. But I still have the car. And they got the Rolex watches, and I got to see those and everything when I went to go visit that office. And there's Teed coming on the... nope, that's not Teed. Who is that? That might be... There's Cone coming off. Pagero coming on the pit road. Pahutsky. That was Pahutsky I saw, yeah. Yeah, I'll get more information about it. I forget the name of the... I think it was Allegra Motorsports team. But yeah, it's amazing that when you plug into those ECUs and you give the right command... Here's Lee Kane coming off pit road. That all of a sudden horsepower is found.
Yeah, horsepower is found. You get to run in fuel mixes that are more powerful, but less reliable and cause a bit more wear. But if you're a factory team, you don't have to worry about that. If you're a customer, that's a problem.
Yeah. But as soon as the race was over, I was told, I was like, did you get to keep the code? I mean, I would have copied. I mean, I'm an IT guy, so I'm thinking of ways like, Morales missing his stop and has a roll back. That's going to be painful in this particular race. Brubacher's done away. He has another stop to go. Wagner on pit road. Long stop for Wagner, speeding on pit road. That's a shame. He's going to kick back going, though. There we see in the background Peterson there coming to pit road there. So we're going to reset the field here momentarily. High Song is your leader. And these are two Lionheart guys going at it. Or actually, not two Lionhearts. Sorry. Again, the Hot Wheels livery threw me off. I thought that was Cone. You think with only 11 cars I'd have it straight, but... Kai Song coming. This is one of the Lionheart competitors. I raced against this guy in the Speedway Series. Looking for his stall. Schaus, that who he was racing with, is coming to pit road now. So this is Schaus's 41st lap. So he's coming to 42. This will be, I think he'll have one more stop after this. And if you're just joining this motorsports conversation as well watching this race here at Kentucky, thanks for joining us. If you support RaceVerse coverage of the Dark Horse DW12 series and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And if you have not done so already, click the bell and smash the thumbs up for us. So I was always asking him, like, did you get the code? Did you copy the code? As soon as the race was over, the engineers plugged in and it was gone.
Yep.
Yeah, boom, done.
If you're a customer team, the factory you buy from do monitor your car on a round-to-round basis. So even if they did find a way to keep the code, a factory engineer would have found out at some point.
Cohn with another good job on the overcut, and he is your leader by a second and a half over Schaus. Schaus right there side by side with Brubacher. This is a battle should be a battle for third. Yeah, this is a battle for third. We're watching the gap to the leader, sorry. And then High Song fourth. Peterson is back there in fifth. He's worked his way up in the order a little bit. We're now well spread out. Peterson's got a dance partner in the form of Teed. Cohen's all by himself. Schaus is working with Brubacher. And High Song all by himself. So we got one more stop to go. We kind of eliminated a couple people in this last stop because of pit road penalties. Unfortunately, Matt Wagner is one of those. These cars do not like to slow down very quickly.
No, they don't perform as well as their successors do with the newer body kit.
And Hutsky and Morales back there battling. This is for a battle for 8th. Hutsky in that, it's Ryan Hunter-Ray, one of his very early liveries when he joined Andretti. Of course, the car behind him is also an Andretti car. Marco. So ironically, the world headquarters for Borg Warner is right up here, not too far from where I live, just outside of Fishers, Indiana. Their headquarters is there. And just really, if you go to the roof of that building, you could probably see in the distance, and just a little bit further drive up Interstate 69 northbound, Nestle has a huge facility here in Indiana on the near Indianapolis in the suburbs. So not surprised that now that I know that, I'm like, oh, that's why he had the Nestle sponsorship.
Yeah,
kind of a local company. While we're watching the action unfold, Cohn is your leader now by 1.2 seconds. Let's bring up the schedule for the remainder of the season. We're kind of in the middle of a stretch run here to the end with no breaks. Next week, off to Japan, then back home to just outside of where my aunt and uncle live there in Concord in New Hampshire, and Loudon. They are the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for round 10, and they're going to do 175 laps there. We only did 150 at the Milwaukee Mile. I don't know why they're glutton for punishment at New Hampshire, but keep in mind, New Hampshire is also a slightly longer track. It's 1.015 miles, so 100. So that's going to be a pretty long race. I mean, closer to really the 180-mile neighborhood when it's all said and done with. Then we're going to go to Auto Club for round 11, and then back to Indianapolis. Fortunately, we'll not be doing Indianapolis in the middle of May for the 500, but they'll do it in the middle of June. Although coming up here this month, we have on RaceVerse, and all you have to do is, I think all of them are scheduled just about except for 2. We have all the series that we've broadcast. We'll be having their Indy 500 just. I think we got something. 4 of them are on the schedule already, and we're going to put 2 more. Whether it be an Indy 200, an Indy 300, an Indy 500K, or 500. We've got like 6 races that we're going to eventually cover from Indianapolis and IndyCars at Indianapolis. So check it out. It is the month of May. So the other story going in Indianapolis is Malukas. Of course, we just saw Able Motorsports says they're not going to be able to make the 500 this year because of funding, so that's 1 less seat. Does Malukas find a seat in time for Indianapolis? Or what?
No.
No.
I don't think he'll find a seat. I think it's less that he'll find a seat, as in I don't think he'll physically be ready to drive the 500.
Wow. So he did basically the same thing that Lance Stroll did, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Where the way he described the incident, that he was sort of distracted while mountain biking, realized he was going too fast, hit the wrong brake, and tossed himself over the handlebars.
There was a woman involved. Okay, all right.
He said he was looking at the scenery, whatever that scenery may be. I don't know.
Well, you know, probably the only thing that saved Lance Stroll is that his dad owned the team. So I don't know if Lucas's dad can own a team. They have a nice trucking company, but I don't know if they can own a team.
Yeah, I think it was more down to also Lance was fortunate enough not to miss any races, which is pretty crazy if you think about.
Well, this is going to be ironic because Lance's hand injury was actually covered a little bit in Drive to Survive the last season, and I'm pretty sure the 100 Days of Indy will cover Malukas and what happened to him, because they can't not talk about. I mean, the big news items. I mean, if that's not covered in 100 Days of Indy, I'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, because I'd say David Malukas has been very, I don't know how, but he's been able to hide the severity of his injuries. And it seemed like he strung a lot of us along to like, oh, maybe he'll be back by Barber, and that ended up not happening. And he even put out, maybe I'll be back for the Indy Grand Prix before he was released from his contract. And it was a big mess.
But does he have to tell everybody? I mean, if he's stringing everybody along, I mean, it's kind of personal medical history. I mean, I guess he doesn't really have to tell anybody, but you can always be hopeful to make the next race, I guess.
Yeah, you can always be hopeful. And I think it put McLaren in a tough situation, because when you're putting out this idea that he could be back, and McLaren are in the situation where they need to find a full-time replacement. You can't just get a replacement on a whim for an Indy 500 program. It just doesn't work like that if you want to consider winning.
Well, they'll have to also spend time with either a rookie test or a veteran refresher. Watching Schaus now, he has caught our leader, Mark Cohn, ran him down. We're at 104 of 50. We can caution free the entire way. All we kind of started with a bit of pack racing, and then the first round of pit stops hit, and that kind of separated them out. And then the second round of pit stops hit, and kind of thinned them more out. We got one more stop to go, so we're looking at a 3-stopper. And I'm not quite sure at this point Schaus really wants to pass Cohn.
No, because, like you said, it's going to come down to that last stop, and if you could stay out a lap or two more, could make a difference, because again, you don't know if there could be a caution in that time span.
I will say that I was really impressed with Teo Porchera and his debut, and I suspected that I really didn't think that he would have any problems, especially at Long Beach, and he did a good job there. I hope he gets another shot. I don't think he's going to get.
Like it.
I'm not sure who he's with McLaren in F1. He's one of McLaren's guys at F1.
No, he's essentially a free agent.
Well, he's not going to get a good ride in F1, so let's bring that young talent over here and make him an IndyCar driver.
Yeah, because right now he's racing in the Super Formula Championship in Japan, and he's having a rough bit of it over there. And it seems like McLaren do see something in him, because he's doing a test at Gateway with McLaren.
Good. Get the oval in on him. With Pagano being out, and I'm not sure if he's done or just because of what he had that rollover wreck at Mid-Ohio last year and has been out of the car since. to have the French representation there. I mean, you still have Grosjean, but still, there's no saying how long he's going to be left in IndyCar. I'd like to see the guy win, and I think he brings a lot of fans, brings awareness to a lot of fans in his social media accounts. But it would be nice to have another Frenchman there, and just in case Grosjean doesn't kind of hold out at Yuko's Hollinger.
Yeah, like it's good to have a European in the field because it keeps European eyes on IndyCar.
And there have been some pretty famous Frenchmen involved or won the 500. So I believe the first foreign make car that won the 500 was a Peugeot. So
yeah, it was a Peugeot, and obviously Louis Chevrolet.
Yeah. Side by side for the lead. Schaus, I thought he was going to play nice and just kind of tuck in there and work on some fuel mileage, but he wants to race. And while they're racing, here comes Jari Brubacher. He is now 8/10 behind, and if he gets into that 5/10 neighborhood, that means he is sniffing that draft and that draft envelope that will extend back that far, and he will suck right up into that battle, making it a 3-car battle coming to, just now less than 40 to go. As Schaus is the leader, he's going to stay on the bottom. Now he's going to float out to the top. In front of him is Iker Pagero. Pagero is 2 laps down, but working on a pretty clean race so far. So is it then that do they know for sure who their other driver is going to be? I mean, I don't think it's going to be. We're going to side by side again in 2. I don't think it's going to be Teo Pourchaire in the 500. It's probably going to be Callum Ilott, right?
I would hope
the obvious choice, yeah.
He would be the obvious choice because he has the experience, but especially at a team like McLaren, you don't know until they make the announcement.
Pagero getting out of the way for the leaders. And staying unimpeded here for the battle for the lead. Cone back to the top and to the front. Schaus trying to get that spot back. Cone staying on the bottom, going to protect the inside yellow line. I guess it is that time to start protecting that inside yellow line. And Mark Cohen, last pit stop. I was wondering where he disappeared through. There he is. So I was talking before last week with the Catalyst Andrew Wood, and the number on the roll cage there. I was saying that it used to be on the road courses when they would go on push to pass, the LED number on the roll bar, the airbox. Ooh, he missed a little. That's gonna hurt. We'll see how bad that's gonna hurt him a little. He just missed his spot just a little bit. Had to back up, down and away. We'll see where he pops out. But it used to be that would blink when they went and push to pass. And I was like, why? I wonder why they took that off. I forgot about it, but I went back and I watched an old, the very first year of the IR18. The first year of the IR18, they had those on there still. I don't know why they got rid of them. Weight, I don't know. I can't imagine they weighed that much. Cost, I don't know.
Yeah, it might have been cost, because I heard that there was some, they couldn't get them to work reliably, so I assume they just didn't want to put the development cost in to fix it.
Here comes Brubacher and Peterson on the pit road together for their final stop. They both went 36 and 37 laps, respectively. 37 for Brubacher, 36 for Peterson on that stint. This is their final stop. Schaus is the leader all by himself. Schaus has been able to go the longest. He went 42 last stint. He is going 34 right now. So he is another 7 laps or so. If the math is right and he's able to duplicate the previous run, maybe he comes in a little bit earlier for a shorter fill. We'll see. He's going to have a car pop out in front of him. And that is Pahutski, and maybe riding the draft for a little bit, but Husky's slowly coming up to speed here. There he is. I say the one that needs to perform at McLaren, that needs to do something, is Rossi.
Yeah, he's kind of just been there. Like, Pato's been quick, and he's been making mistakes, but he's been quick. Rossi's just been there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll make notes. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Rossi. I'm pretty sure that if Rossi never won the Indy 500, he would not still be here. He did not. I don't think he wanted to be in IndyCar together, anyways. And I think it was paying the money and paying the bills, but I don't think he wanted to be in IndyCar anyway. And then he backed into the Indy 500, and he's like, "Oh crap, I got to stay here now." And really, since the Aero screen has come out, I can't think of anything he's won. Before the Aero screen, I can remember things he won, but I don't think he's ever won with the Aero screen on the car.
Yeah, he's just not been able to adapt.
And I just don't think that he really wanted a future in IndyCar. He just wanted to come here. He got a deal, paid some bills. He was going to go off to his true love was Formula One. He wanted to do that. Schaus on pit road, long speeding. There's another one that got eliminated. I told you it's just see how many we would eliminate on the next stop, and there was another one. Now your leader is Cone. Brubacher's with him. Hysong's there too. Hysong and Peterson. They're going to run these guys down here. Just by about 25 laps to go. So this is going to go into Wagner's advantage here. Let's go get Wagner. He is now he just moved ahead of Schaus on the standings. As they say, championship implications. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. The big month of May, of course, we're just all the different topics that we're talking about here. The push to pass gate, the Malukas issue, what's going on with McLaren. I say right now McLaren's probably the bigger heel. You know, they're the NWO instead of the Penske's to the Penske's four horsemen, I guess.
Yeah, I think definitely Penske are the most hated within IndyCar. McLaren are more hated with the fans at the moment. Well,
and you know, Malukas was very engaging online as well. There's a YouTuber that I follow that does the IndyCar comedy review. He's Brit, but he mainly does it to Formula One, and he started doing IndyCar a couple years ago, and I love watching his channel, and Malukas is a fan of his channel and also follows him on Twitter and everything. And that was a bummer to see him go. So definitely very inviting with the fans, engaging with the fans. And let's watch this battle back here for Peterson to Hysong, getting closer and closer really to Brubacher now. We'll bring up, let's bring up intervals. There we go. But we still don't know who that next driver is going to be. Probably Islet. We'll see. We're only going to have 34 entries for the 500, so we're going to have just that, you know, bumping for one spot. Still a lot of talk and chatter about the charter system that IndyCar was talking about as something that they might look into.
Yeah.
I forget.
They want to finalize it before the race.
One of the prospective teams that wants to come in next year actually approached. I forget what team they approached and offered them like $2 million or something for their charter. So, I mean, already the charters kind of have a price tied to it already.
Yeah, because I think like when it comes to anything as an outsider, and you know you have to spend money to enter something, if you see a fixed price, it becomes far more approachable, because you never want to be in a situation where if you have to ask how expensive something is, you probably can't afford it.
Yeah. Excuse me, Garcon. How expensive is the biggest steak you have? $132 of $150. Tonight's coverage was brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their made for sim racing line of gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on their link in today's description. Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching RaceVerse coverage of round 8 of 12 of the Dark Horse DW12 series, coming to you from Kentucky Speedway, where Mark Cohn, the watchman, is looking at another win, but he's being run down, or not, at least not being letting him get away. Let's put it that way. Yari Brubacher's not letting him get away there for first and second. We have just about 15 laps now to go. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Checking the EIS Indy 500 right now. Jesper Orman is the leader. Our good pal Jesper over there. Mark Murphy in the RaceVerse Hot One is up to 12th. RM3 is sitting there in 4th. The Worm Man in 6th. The Iceman, Akabwezi in 7th. A lot of the names we see on the Tuesday show. I don't see any of the Forsyth. There he is. He's down in 20th, unfortunately. Must have had an issue, 8 laps down. Gary Lovern, he's in 16th on the lead lap. Good for him. Teed all back here by himself alone in 5th. Be a good finish for him. Any top 5 anytime is a good finish. Just needs to wrap these laps up. High Song on the high side. He is trying to save these tires for a bit of a stretch run here as he tries to run down Peterson. Peterson 3rd. This would be his best finish of the season if he can knock it down. But he is still not out of reach of High Song. JB looking at another good finish as well. Of course, he's deep in the championship fight as we mentioned at the start of the program. We'll bring those points up one more time to kind of give you a reminder. So there's Schaus and Wagner. That's going to be nearly a dead heat at the end of this race. Stouffer is racing the 500, so is Forsyth. Brubacher's 5th. He will get much closer to Craig. I'm not sure if he will pass Craig. Teed will move up closer. They'll close the gap there. Peterson will close the gap. No Santos or Eckert tonight. Pahutsky in 10th. I'll probably get closer to Eckert, if not pass him for 9th. And that's really the extent. Most everyone else, like I said, is in the competing 500. But we'll get them back next week when we go to Motegi in Japan. So here's Cohn encountering some lap traffic. First time really encountering the aero push for the first time in a while. Lee Kane down to the bottom, about a half a car width off the bottom. Still get some clean air to Cohn's front wings. Kane's going to give him room going into 3 and 4. Now Brubacher could use Lee Kane to there we go. That's what I thought he would do. Use him on the high side, get a good pull, and then tuck down and see if he can get to Cohn. And he is in that zone. He is 5/10 from the back bumper pods of Cohn. That is right in the draft envelope. So this is going to get closer. 3/10. Here we go. He's there. 2/10. I don't know, Ryan. It's going to get exciting here.
Yeah. I think he's going to go for. Oh, he's going to go for the move right away.
And I got to get the graphic off the screen. I was watching that. But yeah, he's there. He is there. I haven't got a chance to use my telestrator at all tonight. We have no incidents, but here's your battle for the lead right here. I'll circle it. Coming to 5 to go. This time by side for the lead. Brubacher getting a run up top. Yari got credit for that lap. So now, if he knows that, he's going to try to stay up top and time that run if he can. Meanwhile, Cone is trying to get off the bottom a little bit. Look at him kind of move out to the wall, kind of arc his way in. Good run through 3 and 4. Again, breaking up the side-by-side action. Cone now getting back the lead. Here comes Brubacher, going to come to the high side, going through 1 and 2. 1 and 2, really, no matter how you look at it here, bottom side is going to be the faster side. Brubacher is going to cut down the banking. I thought maybe he was going to continue cutting down and try the low side down the backstretch, but he pops out. Coming high off of 3 and 4. 4 to go, coming to 3 to go. This time by Brubacher at the line, your leader, by about 0.60 seconds. So 600ths. Brubacher stays really low. A couple jerks of the station of the wheel there. Bottom side it's not going to hold very well on the bottom side of the racetrack. Coming to 2 to go. Cone getting the run on the high side. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to have a good one. Might be a small field, but we're going to have a small, close finish. Down to the bottom of the yellow line. It's going to stay down there. It's got to come back out and make this turn into 3 and 4 wider. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck on the bottom. You're going to lose the momentum. He has good momentum coming off of 3 and 4, coming to the white flag, down to the bottom. Here is Cone looking for his second win in Dark Horse competition. Down to the bottom in 1 and 2, the fastest way around. Brubacher's going to get a bit of a run off the high side, but he's going to stay in the draft immediately on the bottom side of 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, got some lap traffic. Last chance, got some lap traffic in the way, getting out of the way. Down to the 3 and 4, down to the bottom. Brubacher's going to have a bit of a run on the high side, but I don't think he's going to do it because here comes Cone up the block, and Cone is going to get the victory here at Kentucky. That's right. You may get up out of your seats now. Mark Cone there on the 3 stopper, led 80 laps, is your winner for his second win of the season. Yara Brubacher's second. That's going to help him in the points. Jeff Heisong, great run. He will join him. He will join us in the interview room for the first time this season with a third. Eric Peterson fourth. Charles Teed fifth. Those are both good finishes for those guys this season. Morales sixth, a good solid top 10 for him. Casey Pahutsky seventh, Lee Kane eighth. Matty Wagner getting caught speeding on pit road down the ninth, leading 29 laps. Eric Schaus, the same punishment, but unfortunately happened to Schaus later in the race. Wagner passes him while he's on pit road, and that's the difference right there. So we're going to see how close the points are going to get. Not very. They're going to get closer, but I think Schaus still will have the lead. I think. We'll see. He is P10. Moving on is Pagero there at 11th. He'll get some good points for 11th. And let's cue up the replays here real quick before we jump into the interview room. Here we go. We're going to slow it down a little bit more. Here we go. All right. This, we'll see who is going to be available for the interview rooms. And there's Song. He's available, so we'll go ahead and bring him on down now if we can grab him. How? Here he is. Jeff Song, first podium of the season. Congratulations, man. I know it wasn't a very big field, but I would imagine, though, that the racing was pretty good, knowing that really those pits, it wasn't the racing on the racetrack. It was your execution on pit road is kind of what really got you into contention.
Yeah, I just wanted to be smooth on and off, and I knew if I could stay with that front group right there, I'd have a chance towards the end. So kind of lost a couple seconds there on a couple of those stops, but I didn't pick up a penalty, so it kind of worked out in the end.
Talk about your race. I mean, it was pretty much by the book. Anything else going on out there, or just, trying to hit your marks, trying to stay focused and being as smooth as possible?
Yeah, just trying to keep those tires from overheating. It seemed like 3 and 4 was a little bit trickier than 1 and 2, and then just keeping those tires in the window, and then, yeah, just trying to be there at the end pretty much.
Well, this is your first podium here this season, so congratulations. I would suppose that you're probably pretty happy. So go ahead and give those shout-outs to everybody that you want to. You definitely earned it with the third-place finish here today. Down the stretch, we missed your pass for third because the battle for the lead was pretty epic, but we don't want to sacrifice your effort at the least. So go ahead and take all the time you need and give the shout outs and the loved one, sponsors, friends the attention that they deserve.
Shout out to Mark and Yari. They were doing a great job up there. That was a great battle at the end. I had front row seats to it. So shout out to them. Shout out to Peterson. We were battling there at the end, trying to catch them, and he scraped the ball. I think damaged his car a little bit. Shout out to the family. Love you guys. Shout out to you guys for the great work you guys do. And then, yeah, excited just to be back racing.
Good having you. Good seeing you. We talked about being competitors in Lionheart, so it's good to see you here. And we'll catch you hopefully in a week at we'll be on the Oval Motegi.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Well, congratulations. Go celebrate Jeff Song P3 today. All right. Let's see if we have Yari. There is Yari. Let's bring him down. If I can. There we go. Come on. One more. There we go. Here he is. Yari. So close, my man. You were side by side, like the lap or two leading to the white flag. And then it was just that run off 3 and 4 that you weren't able to get a good one. But a solid second place finish is going to really help you in the points. Talk about your race. Looks like the race really kind of boiled down to just getting it to the pit stop and getting it on and off pit road as smooth and as airless as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very important to get the pit stops right, and with the lower car count today, I was pretty confident we would not see many yellows, so pit stops were even more important. And yeah, I mean, in the end, what a battle with Mark. Yeah, I thought I had him, but then when I went into the last corner, I went in a little bit too high. And yeah, it's if you get too high into that corner with the marbles and everything, like, you can't get a real run out of it. But shout out to Mark. That was great racing.
Well, congratulations on your part. I mean, you had to run him down at one point. I mean, he had a good lead on you, and you still had to run him down on your own. So it wasn't all packy and draft racing. You had to use some skill to get up there. So congrats on that. You're going to probably do well in the points. We'll refresh the points here momentarily and bring those up if they're updated here. But congratulations. Any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors you want to say hi to?
Just want to thank the league. Want to thank you guys broadcasting and everyone watching.
Our pleasure, and we good seeing you, and we will be back again. Hopefully we'll see you at in Motegi.
Yeah, I should be there. I missed the last race because, as I said, I'm in Europe, so I just slept through it. That's why I didn't race.
You're doing really good right now. It's the middle of the night for you. So second place finish
Yeah, that's true.
for the wee hours of the morning. And then tomorrow is, of course, it's Sunday here, so tomorrow's a work day for you. So my hat off to you, sir. You're a stronger human than I am.
Well, I work from home, so I can sleep in a little later.
I do too. I do too. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. Congratulations. We'll check you next
All
week.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let's see. We go put him back in. There he is. And let's bring down Mark. There he is. Mark, yet another win here. Second win in the DW12s. I know that kind of coming into this, you haven't drove the 12 for a while, and you're like, yeah, you were more of I think, the Lotus 79 guy, maybe did some IR18s, and just a few short races into a Dark Horse career, and already your second win here. I think you're getting the feel of this DW12 pretty good.
Definitely outperforming expectations. That race, I'm still catching my breath after that.
Well, as we were talking about the other drivers, because it was a short field, you're not going to see very many cautions, maybe one at most. But really, it comes down to, if it's going to be close, it's limiting mistakes on the racetrack. So those are driving clean lines that maximize the use of your tires and then getting on and off pit road efficiently as possible. And that's every single time we came to a green flag pit stop, we thinned out the herd, kind of, so to speak, one by one, as people either came on the pit road too conservative, had a penalty, whatever. Really, it came down for you, was it coming down to hitting those pit stops on the marks and everything properly and maximizing the time that you don't spend moving there on pit road?
Yes, and let me tell you, that final pit stop, I thought I gave it away because I actually overshot my box by the tiniest bit and probably lost a second or two.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Schaus was going to have it, but I guess he sped or something, and even then, I still, holding off Yari, that was the hardest I've had to drive in a while. Oh, my gosh.
Do you have anything, Ryan?
No, I was just, what you said kind of emphasized how important pit stops were tonight.
Yeah, I think of any race that we've had all season, the pit stops were more important in this race with a small field, and we were talking in the broadcast that if you just kind of overshoot your box just a little bit and you take a second to get it in the gear and then second to roll back, that's 2 seconds. In IndyCar speak, 2 seconds are 2 football fields. And you could spend an entire race making up 2 football fields. So hitting pit road as efficiently as possible looked like it was the way that the podium got to be where they were, because they just hit their marks and they were most efficient. So congratulations, second win here, Dark Horse. I know you got a ton of sponsors, friends, family, and also teammates elsewhere. So go ahead and give all those shout outs. You definitely earned it with the victory here in Kentucky.
Thank you. Gosh, Bobby Legs Loves Watches, Hans Wildork, Wrong Time Watch, Sim Lab, Nizumi Studios, Sam Maxwell Customs. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. Thumbs Up, Cancer Down, DeWar's Fine Candies. Of course, thank you to RaceVerse for the awesome broadcast, Dark Horse for letting me race here. And everyone watching, thank you as well. That was a wild race.
Good to have you, and we'll see you at, all goes well, we'll see you at Motegi next week.
Thank you. I'll definitely be there.
All right. I will just go ahead and drop you down in general, and you can move yourself to wherever you need to on channel-wise. But thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. Wow. Final thoughts. I mean, I appreciate you coming in for pinch hitting duties. Like I always said, you never know, pinch hitters often turn into starters. So, but we did talk earlier today. You will be joining us on one of our Indy 500 coverages coming up here at the end of May. So that's probably the next time we hear you, unless we have another issue. We have to talk about this offline real quick. We might need someone for Tuesday, but we'll see. Hang on. Hang on. But final thoughts here. Small field, but really it showed the importance of pit stops today.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how big or small the field is, you're usually out there racing against somebody, and it doesn't matter if it's one competitor or 10. Anyone can be a threat to win if they just put the work in, run the right lines, hit their stops, and get the job done.
All right. Well, it will be, and before we get out of here, we'll be back to me and the Catalyst next week. But thank you very much, man. You're always a big part of these broadcasts, and it's always good to talk to news with you because you got the scoops. So if you want to hear more from Ryan there, you want to check him out on the Motorsports 101 podcast and read up about him on jalopnik.com. I'm sure you'll be having a lot of Indy 500 related podcasts and articles this month.
Oh, without a doubt.
So that's it for today. Once again, your podium from Kentucky. We have your winner is Mark Cohn for his second win of the season. Jari Brubacher with the P2 and podium, and Jeff Hyson with a great finish there for third. Join Andrew and myself again next week for round 9 of the Dark Horse DW12 series. It's the teams and drivers head to Japan in the Oval at Twin Ring Motegi. Coverage this season begins around 8 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that's 8 p.m. Eastern. As always, find everything right here at youtube.com/RaceVerse. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game's not an easy one, so please help support RaceVerse with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And to all those who participated in the chat, thank you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you being a part of chat. Yeah, Rigney, the points are still up. Yeah. We got tied up in the points we're supposed to clear. They did it. But luckily we missed no action really on the racetrack. So again, thanks to all those that participated in chat tonight. If you're new, click subscribe and while you hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more of RaceVerse, other iRacing programming. And if you enjoyed the coverage, of course, support us by smashing like in the video. Keep your browsers set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge and all of iRacing. RaceVerse, we know what Indy means. Dark Horse DW12 series help brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on their link in today's description. Track cams provided by Track Cams for Gourmets. Get your own track cams for your own personal highlight reel at TrackCams22.com or click on the link in the description, of course. For business inquiries to learn more about RaceVerse and what we do, visit RaceVerse.com. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Here's all of our handles right here at the bottom of the screen. There's me, there's Gary, there's Ryan. So for Ryan Air King, everyone at RaceVerse, I'm Gary Gotzo saying all happy Sunday, and thanks for watching. And to our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, come home safe. Catch us again right here next week in Japan for the next race of the Dark Horse DW12 series. Good night.